Hi guys, and welcome back to a new video with me, the Omega Enthusiast. Recently, I've serviced a few brands of vintage watches from the 1930s to the 1960s. I will share and go through each piece in today's video with you. Before I begin this video, if this is your first time watching my video or you have not yet subscribed to this channel, please subscribe now and hit that like button. It is free to do and will help support this channel. Watch number 1 is a 1930s Movado chronometer in faux steel. Movado patented this model style and is known as the ACVATIC, defining for achieving a high-level dust-resistant, anti-magnetism, and water-resistant by adding an inner case, which you will see in a short bit. It is a small timepiece but common trend for a watch of this era to be in this size, measuring 28.5 millimeters across, excluding the crown, by 38.7 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip. The case thickness is 10.3 millimeters, including the acrylic dome crystal, and takes a strap 16 millimeter wide. This watch may come with two different kinds of crown style, and this is one of them. The fancy lugs are very attractive about this piece, and this is a rare chronometer version of the ACVATIC model. The watch is powered by manual wind Movado caliber 150 MN movement. Collecting vintage watches is not always about the brand name. If that is your focus, you will miss out on many beautiful vintage watches. Part of the fun is exploring and finding what is out there that is unique and well preserved. So the second piece I have here is a 1945 CYMA water sport watch. One thing to notice is many vintage square or rectangular watches are in poor condition due to their case design, and are usually dress watches, so they are not well protected from anything. However, this CYMA is moisture sealed as a gasket is fitted under the crystal and inside the crown. A word of advice is to ensure that this special crystal has no crack when you buy the watch. It is hard to find a replacement. The case I mentioned measures 28.3 millimeters across, excluding the crown, by 38 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip. The case thickness is 8.9 millimeters, including the acrylic crystal, and takes a strap 20 millimeter wide. Remember that a square watch will usually appear more prominent on the wrist than a round watch with the exact case diameter. Here's a photo of the inside of the watch. The manual wind movement is a CYMA caliber 162.K2 with 15 jewels. Watch number 3 is an early Eterna-matic chronometer dating to the year 1950. Three things that stands out on this watch are the combination of Aero and Arabic numeral L markers, fancy lugs, and the half-painted red sweep second hand. Eterna is an underrated brand. They make great quality watches, and the majority are still highly affordable in today's market. While many companies still use automatic bumper movement at the time, Eterna, on the other hand, already use a full rotor rotating automatic movement. The case dimension on this watch measures 34.5 millimeters across, excluding the crown, by 43 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip. The case thickness is 10.9 millimeters, including the acrylic dome crystal, and takes a strap 18 millimeter wide. Note that the watch thickness will vary depending on the crystal's thickness. The original crown will have the dotted star logo just like on the dial. Unscrew the case back, and inside you will find an automatic caliber 1253 Eterna movement. The case and crown both carries a gasket. Watch number 4 is a 1950s Mido, or some people call it Mido, MULTIFORT POWERWIND watch. A fun fact for you is my very first vintage watch was a Mido MULTIFORT, similar to this piece. Mido launched its MULTIFORT line in 1934. It was known as one of the first anti-magnetic watches with an automatic movement and is resistant to moisture and shock. What I like about this brand is its simple design and quality. Of course, the price is still within most people's budget. The case dimension on this watch measures 34mm across, excluding the original sign crown, by 40.7mm from lug tip to lug tip. The case thickness is 12.6mm, including the acrylic dome crystal, and takes a strap 16mm wide. Remember, buying a Mido watch with its original crown is essential. The crown is different from a regular water-resistant crown since the gasket is inside the case tube instead. Unscrew the case back. Inside, you will find a caliber 917 PC Mido automatic movement. The case will require a gasket as well. Watch number 5 on the list is a 1950s Hamilton automatic wristwatch. Like most automatic watches of this era, the second hand will not surpass the minute track. Hamilton is famous for its electric watches, but you know me, I am not a fan of battery-operated watches. No offense to any of my viewers, I just like how a mechanical watch is built. The radium burn on the dial signifies that this watch was stored away several times over its lifetime. Some collectors find radium burn dial attractive. What about you? The case dimension on this watch measures 33mm across, excluding the original sign crown, by 40.5mm from lug tip to lug tip. The case thickness is 11mm, including the acrylic dome crystal, and takes a strap 17mm wide. If you are scared to replace a watch strap, buy a watch with a spring bar easy release hole on the lugs, as you can see on this Hamilton. Unscrew the case back, and inside you will find an automatic caliber 661 Hamilton movement, the same as a Satina caliber 25-45 movement. The case and crown both carries a gasket. Watch number 6 is a watch that was once very cheap under a decade ago, and now costs more than most Omega Seamaster watches. Honestly, I can't complain. This is a stunning looking watch, and the quantity is much less than a Seamaster. One thing I must mention all the time is always to buy a universal GENEVE POLEROUTER with its original correct sign crown. They are freaking hard to find, trust me on that. The case dimension on this watch measures 35.5mm across, excluding the crown, by 45.5mm from lug tip to lug tip. The case thickness is 11mm, including the acrylic dome crystal, and takes a strap 19mm wide. Ignore the 18 on this strap, it is 19mm if you measure it. If you're interested to learn more about UG POLEROUTER, click on the link above to watch that video. Unscrew the case back, and inside you will find an automatic bumper caliber 138 SS UG movement, dating the watch to 1955. The case and crown both carries a gasket. Watch number 7 on the list is this 1959 Bolivar self-winding watch. The word self-winding or perpetual on a watch dial means the same as automatic wind, self indicating the watch itself and not you. If you forgot about the term self-winding, remember the tip I mentioned earlier. Look at the second hand. If it is an automatic watch, it will not surpass the minute track. Bolivar makes excellent watches for a very affordable price, so give Bolivar a try if you cannot afford some of the more expensive vintage watches. Trust me, you can't go wrong wearing a Bolivar timepiece. The case I mentioned on this watch measures 33mm across, excluding the crown, by 41.5mm from lug tip to lug tip. The case thickness is 11mm, including the acrylic dome crystal, and takes a strap 18mm wide. Dating a Bolivar watch is simple. Look for the letter next to a number marking on the case. L stands for the 1950s, M is 60, N is 70s, P is 80s, and T is 90s. Here's a photo of the inside of the watch. The automatic wind movement is a Bolivar caliber 11 AFAC. Watch number 8 is a 1959 ZENITH pilot watch in solid steel. ZENITH is another underrated watch brand. If you are a watchmaker and have worked on a ZENITH watch before, you know how great the movement is. Can I just say that a ZENITH movement is just fantastic and fun to work on? The innovation of its movement is way ahead of its time. One feature you don't find in many watches of this era is the hack set feature that this movement provides. The case dimension on this watch measures 35mm across, excluding the crown, by 43.5mm from lug tip to lug tip. The case thickness is 9.9mm, including the acrylic dome crystal, and takes a 19mm wide strap. What I like about this piece is the exploding dial and the flame-looking hour hand. Unscrew the case back, and inside you will find a manual wind caliber 120 ZENITH movement. The case and crown both carries a gasket. Lastly, watch number 9 is a 1960 Aquastar GENEVE diver's watch. It takes a special, extra thick acrylic crystal to withstand the pressure from a deep dive. The bezel should rotate freely on this watch. A tour watch is usually in poor condition, so finding one in this shape is something to cherish. A word of advice is to avoid swimming with any of your vintage watches. Better to be safe than sorry. The case I mentioned on this watch measures 36mm across, excluding the crown, by 45.4mm from lug tip to lug tip. The case thickness is 13mm, including the acrylic dome crystal, and takes a strap 19mm wide. Unscrew the case. Inside you will find an AS caliber 1712 automatic movement. The case and the crown both carry a gasket. We have come to the end of this video, and I hope you guys have learned something new as always. If you don't mind, comment down below and let me know which is your favorite piece in this video. You can also support my work on Patreon or hit on that like button. Creating one of these videos takes up much of my time, so your support is much appreciated. Thank you for watching this video, and I look forward to seeing you in a future episode.